Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Eric. I am the Fraudiophile. It's the channel where we talk about records, music, stereo equipment, and everything else in between. So today we are going to talk about dad rock. As you can probably tell by the way I'm dressed, by my age, by my beard, I am a dad. I have a son that is in college, freshman, and I have a daughter who is in 8th grade. I actually just got back from her track meet where I stood around for 2.5 hours to watch her run for a grand total of 90 seconds. The things we do for our kids, right? That got me thinking about music and dad rock in particular. So got a stack of records here we're going to go through, talk about what bands I consider dad rock. Now, I will say I limited this list only to bands that are still making music today or putting out albums that are newsworthy. So not really what I would consider any sort of dinosaur acts or anything. Although, I mean, we could talk about some of those that would be considered sort of dad rock Hall of Famers. Music I know my dad listened to and dad's generation before me. Springsteen, Tom Petty, Dire Straits, The Band, Dylan, maybe considered dad rock, Billy Joel, and definitely the Eagles. So those are some of the kind of classics. There were some that I considered borderline dad rock that I considered coming in for today and showing some records from, but let's look at those, right? The Killers, possibly, REM, U2, Spoon, LCD Sound System, Pavement. I mean, those are some other bands that I would consider close to being dad rock, if not at least dad rock adjacent. So what is dad rock? Well, it's music that somebody like me listens to. Music that if you walk into the concert, you're generally going to see a bunch of white bearded dads in most cases. I've got a story I'll actually tell about one of these records about my wife being afraid to go to a show. And then once we got to there, she's like, oh yeah, this is dad rock. But how did the phrase get coined? Let's talk about Robert Mitchum, or Rob Mitchum, I believe is how you say it, from Rolling Stone. There was an album that came out in the early 2000s that he called dad rock. This is that record, Wilco. I mean, Wilco is kind of the kings of dad rock as it can be defined. This album, Sky Blue Sky, when it came out, this was 2 albums after Yankee Hotel Foxtrot. And actually it was kind of a different feel to their sound. They added Nels Cline at the time to play guitar. Quite a different album than A Ghost is Born, which came out directly before this. Jeff Tweedy, for instance, didn't really like the moniker at the time of being called dad rock. But if you listen to this album, you'll understand why. This is probably my favorite Wilco album. I'm probably one of the few that says that. I know everybody goes to Yankee Hotel Foxtrot or Summer Teeth, but I really like this, and I think a big part of it is Nels Cline's guitar playing. If you haven't checked this out or just want to stream a song from this, listen to Impossible Germany. The guitar solo on there is just absolutely incredible, and one of my probably top 5 favorite guitar solos of all time. So yeah, kicking us off, Wilco, Sky Blue Sky. Another band that is making music today, considered dad rock, is The National. They actually, at one of their last concerts, were selling merchandise that said Sad Dads on it. A person on the internet who I do a lot of reading of his material, John Moe, always talks about sad dads and always brings up The National. Great band, really cool sound, love Matt Berenger's voice. The Desner brothers produce some just amazing music, and the older I get, the more I find myself listening to this. Another band that actually just toured with The National last year is The War on Drugs. This is one of my wife's favorite bands. Anytime I say, hey, what should we listen to? She's, well, let's listen to The War on Drugs. Really dig their sound. Adam Gradusel, hope I'm saying that correctly, is kind of the driving force behind this band. Yeah, great guitar rock. That's another thing with dad rock. It's all guitar-driven rock. This is I Don't Live Here. Yeah, I Don't Live Here Anymore is the name of this album. This is their latest release. Their live albums are all really good. Live Drugs 2. But this here is one of my favorites. Little side point, another one of my favorite artists and bands, Craig Finn, the lead singer of the Hold Steady, just released a solo album that came out last week, and Adam Gradisell from The War on Drugs produced it. The best way to describe it is it sounds like the War on Drugs music with Craig Finn doing his talk singing over the top of it. So something else really cool if you want to check out that you've never listened to before, try Craig's new album. And here's a band that's been around for a while. If you listen to their early albums, I would not consider them dad rock at all, but as their latest albums have moved much more in that direction, I'm going to go, this might be kind of controversial, but Pearl Jam, this is Dark Matter. This is their latest album, which I think is a very, very, very good record. But definitely dad rock or dad rock adjacent. Mellowed out a little bit as they've gotten older. But it's still a really, really good album. Another band that I've listened to, and this is my concert story, is the Drive-By Truckers. Some people might think this is dad rock, some might not. Still putting out great albums. I mean, this is Decoration Day. This came out in the early 2000s. They're still making some great music today. Patterson Hood and Mike Cooley. This one actually had Jason Isbell on it. But my concert story about this, I bought tickets to go see the Truckers at First Avenue. My wife was pretty concerned. She'd only listened to a little bit of their music, and she's like, are we gonna be like the oldest people in the place? And we walked in, she looked at me and goes, oh yeah, this is like completely your crowd. Like everybody there looked like the two of us. So love the Drive-By Truckers. Really like the early stuff with Isbell. But their new stuff they're making is still very good. Speaking of Isbell, I'm going to throw Jason Isbell into that lot as well with his solo work and with his band, the 400 Unit. Probably the band that I've seen live the most in the last 15 years. Sadler Vaden, his guitar player, actually I believe is producing an album called Dad Rock, or is putting out his own album called Dad Rock, so you cannot argue with me if I call this Dad Rock. The guitar playing between Isbell and Sadler Vaden is tremendous. Jason just came out with a brand new album, which is all acoustic, just him and an acoustic guitar. It's talks a lot about his divorce from his now ex-wife, who is right here. It's actually songs that are some really sad breakup songs, but it's got some really great new love songs too, as he's fallen in love with a new young artist. But love Jason Isbell. In that same mode, somebody who's kind of morphed from that, I would call it almost like an alt country into more rock and into dad rock, is Sturgill Simpson. Love Sturgill. This is his latest album under his pseudonym Johnny Blue Skies. This is Passage to Sear. Meta Modern Sounds of Country Music is one of probably my favorite albums of the last 15 years. This one that came out last year is really, really growing on me. Much more of a guitar-driven rock sound, getting away from some of the country aspects on here. But yeah, Sturgill and his band are absolutely tremendous. Another person I've talked about quite often in some of my videos is Justin Vernon. Justin is the driving force behind Bon Iver. He's really moved from... His first album that came out for Emma was very, very acoustic, written up in his dad's cabin in northern Wisconsin, and really moved into more electronic sounds. This is 22 a Million that came out probably 2016, 2017, somewhere in that range. Cool album, very different sounding than for Emma or even his album previous. He's got a new album, Fable Sable, that drops on Friday that I've pre-ordered. That I'm looking forward to the mail call coming in that day. But I would definitely call this dad rock. It's another concert that I've went and saw a couple of years ago, and pretty much everybody in the crowd looked almost exactly like me. Here's another one that's grown into, very much like Pearl Jam, a band that's been around for a long time, but I think has become synonymous with dad rock, and is the Foo Fighters. Yeah, love Dave Grohl, love his songwriting. Don't listen to him nearly as much as I used to. I was really into about the first 3 or 4 albums. The later ones haven't quite done it for me. This album, Skin and Bones, is awesome. It's like stripped down. Think of it almost like an unplugged version of a lot of their songs. Was gifted this from someone in one of the Facebook groups that I'm a part of, and listen to this quite often. It's very good. But Dave, sorry to say it, I know you're a dad. You even bring your daughter up on stage to perform with you, so that does make you dad rock. And last but not least, let's talk about the Godfathers. Now, this is not a band that makes music anymore, but they are the Godfathers of dad rock. Somebody I've talked about in many of my videos. Steely Dan. I think once you hit a certain age, you have to like Steely Dan. It's just part of aging, just like my beard, as you can see, is getting nice and gray. When that happens, you start to like Steely Dan. And I now have, I think, pretty much the entire discography on vinyl and on CD as well. So these guys are the Godfathers of dad rock. So let me know what you think. What are your favorite bands that you consider dad rock? The bands I mentioned and showed today. Let me know if you think I'm way off base, or if you would consider these dad rock. I also want to give a shout out to everybody that jumped in and joined my Pink Floyd giveaway contest. Congrats to Tony P for being the big winner. I didn't even realize it when I drew, just by looking at the channel name, that it was Tony. Tony actually drove a whole bunch of people over to my channel to come and check it out. So very happy that he ended up being the winner. So thanks again, everybody, for watching. Please like and subscribe, and yeah, leave comments on what you think.